So today's one is going to be a very interesting one. In fact, even I'm excited, ordinarily it should be the participants that should be feeling the excitement if the session is supposed to be good. But this one, I cannot wait to even do some things I've not done before. So today we're going to be going through connecting to as many data sources as we can. In fact, as possible. When I say possible amongst ourselves. Okay, so that's what we want to do. And once we go on, if there is any data source that I don't even have an account to, and you feel, oh, do you have an account in it and you want to demo? Yes, feel free to demo. That's why we are using this approach where it's a meeting. Is before we used to do it like a webinar way where you cannot share your screen, you cannot talk back to me. This one is collaborative. You can even take the mic from my hand and say, Mike, what are you saying? Give me the mic. So all right, so just to always, as I always do mention, there's the chat box where you can always drop your questions, and you can also speak. You can unmute yourself and speak too. We don't have any rules. So the only thing I want to mention is that this is the community link, which means it's better you be there. That's where I'm going to post the recording. And that's where also, when I say I'm trying to do a reminder, that's where I do post reminders. So if you join that community link, you will never miss the reminders and the recordings of the previous session. So without wasting any more time, this is what we want to do today. So I'm going to take you through as many of all the different data sources we can connect to on Power BI. And this is the genesis of where you are looking at. So let's say you open Power BI, from an empty Power BI file, Power BI desktop file. You will always have this window, right? And then we all know that there's get data. So get data allows us to bring in the data we want to analyze, right? So I'm going to turn on my screen zoom stuff so that you see clearly. So today my intention is to go through as many as I can. When I say many as I can, the ones I have account access to and time will permit us to. And if we still have more time and some of you can even take control, share your own screen and demo some that I am not able to demo, to be really cool. So I will go to more. So the moment I go to more, what will happen is that it's going to show me the full listing of all of the different data sources that I can connect to. And it's a lot, it's over 150. It shouldn't take this long. It's not normally this slow. Let me just check why it's not coming up. Let me try it. Click. Okay, yeah, it has come up. All right, so on our marks, let's get started. There might be something you already use, but I don't want to take anyone for granted. There's Excel. So I click on Excel. Once you click on the one you want, and in this case, I'm starting with Excel, I click on Connect. It's going to ask me to navigate and pick the Excel file I want to import. So let me look for something that makes sense and something that is not confidential. So let me just go to my documents. Let me go to my practice files, please. I don't run the risk of picking customer data. I think it's on that desktop. So Excel practice files. And I'm going to just look for, I can even pick Power BI. So I have the data in Power BI that makes more sense. Sorry that I'm a bit slow here. I'm being careful not to go and pick let me pick a file that is small. That one is good. Let's just go with that. I don't want to go and pick a customer data. This thing is recording. If it was a live class, I'm not this very careful because Even if I speak the wrong thing, I will not say anything. I will close it and you will not notice. So once you pick the file you want to import, this is the way it shows. It shows you all the sheets in that file. So that this one has just one sheet. So that's why I'm seeing only one thing. And if you have tables too, it shows you the tables. It shows you what they will look like. So this is the preview on the right side. And then you can click on transform or load. So let me exit the zoom. So this is the consistent experience you will always get. Every time you pick what you want to bring into Power BI, you will always get this navigator. That I assure you of. You will always get this navigator experience where you will see stuff that you can navigate through and pick more than one thing. So if this was a database, you will see all the different tables in the database. And if this is an Excel file, you will see all the different sheets in this place. And so you get that pattern. And then anyone you click on, you will see the preview. So this is like preview over here. Okay. So this experience is consistent. So I won't be repeating this. And you can do multi-select. You can select, assuming I have more than one sheet here, I can select as many sheets as I need to bring into my model. All right. So I'm going to not, and this will take a bit of time if I say it should load. So I know you already know how to do for Excel, so I'm not going to load this one. So I'm just going to cancel, and the file is large, so I don't even want to waste time on what we probably already know. So I go back here. So that is for Excel. Let's go pick something else. Let me again do my zoom. Once the stuff comes up, I'll go back to the zoom. Okay, good. So I turn on the zoom. Let's do the text file. So text file is similar to Excel, and when I say similar, many of you would have been doing this before now. So, but like I said, I want to go through it from top to down. So text file, and then I will pick a text file. So let's say I pick something that has, no, let me pick this one. I know what is in this. So I pick it, and you will get the same navigator experience, meaning that the moment you pick it, you will always see, because CSV does not have pages or sheets, so you don't get that sheet navigation side. You only see a preview. Okay, so I'm not going to load this one in because this is something we are familiar with. So I'm just going to cancel. Okay, I will go and we go and pick something else. If you have any question, please drop them in the chat box. You can also speak, you can unmute and speak. So there is no, though there will be the question and answer at the end, but you can ask it any moment throughout this session. So I'm waiting for you to come back up. Okay, XML, I don't have anything to use to demo for XML. So I'm going to skip XML. For JSON, the one I have is the API, not an already downloaded JSON file. So I don't have for JSON also. For folder, yes, I can demo folder. So if I click on connect, it will tell me to browse to the folder. So I click on browse. So what this does is it will let you be able to pick everything in the folder. So this can be very useful for situations where you get daily reports or you get reports from different branches and you don't want to be manually aggregating them. So what do? You create a folder, and every time those reports come in, you save them there. And what you do is you connect your Power BI to that folder. So Power BI will automatically pick all of the files in that folder. So I'm going to scroll to, okay, I can use this for demonstration. So sales reports, if I pick it and I click on OK, again, you see, so it shows me, let me exit the zoom. So it shows me all that there is in that folder, right? So I can be able to say, do I want to combine? Do I want to combine all those files at once? So if you go through some of our previous classes, we did this combining. So if you go through, or if you have been around in all of our weekend classes, you would have come across this, and if you're doing our training, you will have come across this. So I'm not going to do this again because today I have a long list of things I want to connect to. So you can always go and watch my videos on how you can combine. But I just want you to understand that yes, you can connect to a folder and to bring in all of the content in the folder. You can bring it right into Power BI. You can decide to even combine if that's what you want. If you don't want to combine, you can take them as they are into Power BI and start doing whatsoever you want to do in the Power Query side. So I'm not going to load them in. I'm going to cancel. Then I'll go back right to, okay, so any questions? Let's see. No questions yet. We're about 9 in class. All right, so I go back here and then okay, so this is backup. So let's do PDF. So this can be, we are beginning to get to the interesting lists. So PDF, right? I pick on PDF, I click connect, and then let's see what happens when you try to connect to a PDF file. So let me just look for something else instead of connecting to a book. I can connect to my assignments file. So you pick it. Let me just exit the Zoom so you see. So it's trying to bring in the file and understand, kind of like try to go through it and see what's inside. Let me bring back the Zoom. So this is the navigator experience again. And as you can see, it has shown me all of the pages and all the tables it could identify. So this is a table, this is a table, and these are things that are in my PDF file, right? So you can bring data directly from your PDF into, these are the other things in the PDF file, page by page. I can say I need this, right? So at this stage, I can even go ahead and so I need this, and I say it should just load it into my Power BI. So that's how you can instantly grab stuff from PDF files. Let me show you what that PDF file looks like as per content of the PDF file. I think I have it opened. Yeah, so this is it. It should come up. I clicked on it. Huh? Okay, I think I have a lot of things open. So this is that PDF. This is that particular one that's brought in. You can see this. If you take a look at this very well, huh? Date XLE ends with S&P 500, right? If you check the PDF file, that's what is. So that's part of what is inside. Is a mixture of, it's like an assignment report anyway. So bring stuff from PDF. Now we know that one. Let me go back in here. Okay, waiting for it to come on. Okay, great. So we stopped that PDF. Let's move on. So what about SharePoint? I say we've gotten to the interesting data sets. So let's go to SharePoint, right? For SharePoint, it might not be everybody that can be able to do this because it means that your company should have a SharePoint. But let's see how it works, right? So I have a SharePoint, our company has SharePoint. So what I do is I go there, I go and grab the link to our SharePoint. Start link. Yeah, so this is the link to our SharePoint. I just grab the major URL, HTTPS, MSZ, yours too, we have this kind of format anyway. So I copy that link, I come over here. So once I pick SharePoint, I click on connect. it will ask me to provide the link. I provide the SharePoint site URL. I say okay. It will ask me to log in. I think I logged in before this our class, so it might not ask me to log in again. But for you, it will ask you to log in with your company details. And before it will now show you all the stuffs you have. So in my own case, I have folders. Let me just go to transform data so you will see what it looks like. Let me exit the zoom mode. So if I go here to transform data, which will take me to the Power Query side, you'll be able to see what I actually have inside of it. So if I click on this binary, so I think, yeah, I uploaded some data recently. Maybe they have not shown yet. Okay, they're empty folders. So, all right, so it's able to show you the content as you have them in there, and you can navigate to the content. You can navigate from, from the folder to the content as you saw me do, but unfortunately I have nothing in the folder. Okay, so I'm going to move on to another one. So I go back here, I go back to get data, I go back to more. So we stopped at SharePoint, right? Moving on, there's SQL Server Database. So let's do that also. So I have a database that I have access to, a local database. So you see what it looks like when you connect to a database. So I pick SQL Server Database, I click on Connect. It's going to ask me for the server name. So let me go and grab that for us. I'm going to go look for the server name. So the local database that I have access to, I'm grabbing the server name. I'm going to paste it here. I don't know which database I'm going to use yet. Okay, so I'm back. I don't know which database I'm going to use. I'm going to pick it. So I leave it. I leave it empty. Please help me mute if that's coming from you. So I leave it empty for now because I can always navigate and pick anyway. And if you want to provide some queries, some SQL code, maybe you already know what you want to get exactly, and you don't want to waste time. You just want to dump the SQL code here, so it executes it instantly and only gives you what you want. In my case, I just want us to see all that is possible, so I'm not going to dump any code in here. Then you see this import and direct query. If you do imports, right, which is the default anyway. In fact, if you put your mouse on this, okay. Please, I need to help us mute. Let me just see if I can do that from here. Set this to mute everybody. Mute all. This will mute everyone in the meeting but you. Okay, let's do that. Okay. And all right. So going back to this place, I import. So import brings in and creates like a copy of that data inside Power BI. So it's kind of like import it into Power BI. Whereas direct query, nope. Direct query just creates a link to the database. And so anything you are doing, it is executing against the database. Well, it might be slower than if you do import, but if you are working in a situation where they don't want any of their data to go out of their physical premise, they don't want you to even put it in Power BI, then that might be the only option. Some other times when some people will do this is, if you do direct query is the closest to real time, apart from streaming analytics that you can get, because every time anything is doing is running against the live database. So you don't need to set you don't even need to set refresh, but you can be like, that's how close as possible you can be to real time in Power BI the connection to database anyway. So some people, because of that real-time aspect of it, they do direct query. Just that it can be computationally expensive because every time something is happening, it's running a query against the live database. For this case, I'm not going to do direct query. I'm just going to leave it as import. I do OK. As usual, we're going to see the navigator. Okay, so let me exit the Zoom. So it's showing me all the databases that I have on that server. So I can pick any database, any table in any database. So let's say maybe I want to bring in the human resource employee table. Maybe I want to bring in sales table. Let's look for a transactional table. Okay, so I can pick all the tables I want to bring in. So I've clicked like 4 tables or 3 already. And I can say transform, and it will take them to the Power Query side. I can do whatsoever transformation I want to do there before I load them into the model, right? So that is SQL Server. So let's go on. Go back here. Okay, and let me turn on the Zoom. I used to have an Access database, but I don't think I still have. So I'm going to skip Access database since I don't have. Well, let's just see. Maybe let's just check. If I don't find any database on time, we skip it. But it's if you know how to do for SQL Server, it's the same pattern anyway. So let's see if I have any MDB in this place. Nope. Let's go to downloads. Okay, so like I said, I don't have, so we can skip that one. It's very similar to the SQL we did anyway. So I move on. So SQL Server Analysis Service Database, I don't have. Oracle Database, I do not have. IBM DB2, I do not have. IBM Informix, I do not have. IBM Netiza, I do not have. Mysql Database, I don't have on this computer. Postgre, SQL.
Can I illustrate with MySQL?
Yes, sure. So let me exit my own share screen. Okay, so you can take over the screen sharing. So I'm stopping my own screen share.
Okay.
All right, so yes, sir.
Looking for where you have, okay. Can you see my own screen?
Yes, it's coming up.
Okay.
Awesome.
All right. So the thing with MySQL, so if it was Microsoft, it was a Microsoft SQL Server, you can connect it directly, okay? But with MySQL, you can't connect it directly. So you need to download the MySQL Connector.
Okay.
So when you're working with MySQL database, you can't connect direct. You need to go and download MySQL Connector. Okay. So because of that when you download that, so if you just search it online, you will see MySQL Connector, but they may have different versions that work. Okay. So once you have done that, so because mine is already connected, so I'm sure that's why it will connect straight. But if you try it with your own, it won't connect because you need that connection.
It won't connect.
Yes. So if is my Power BI showing now?
Yes, it is. Yes, carry on. It's showing clearly.
All right, that's fine. So I go to my database, my SQL database. So the server normally, if you have if you are connected online, I think the IP you need here. Otherwise, you use a local host as your server. Okay. So like in my own case, I want to use customers. Okay. Then instead of selecting the whole data, so I can just use maybe I can just select this.
Okay.
Then I connect that and that's it.
Awesome.
So that's the peculiar thing about.
Okay.
So you can't connect.
We need to get the connect. That's connector, right?
Yes.
You just install it on your Windows.
Yes, on your Windows.
That's all.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks a lot, Francis, for that. Yeah. I can even see now that there are some questions that have come up. Let's see if I can take any of them before we continue with. All right, so I'm trying to look at the questions. Can one get? Let me start from the beginning. Okay, so Augustine is asking, how secure is Power BI platform with respect to some of Office documents that might be confidential? So the thing is, because when you use Power BI, let me just share my screen again. When you use Power BI, naturally you can access any data that you have access to. So it's now left for you how you use it. Let me try and mute everybody. There's something playing from the background of his own. All right, so I've done that. Trying to answer Augustine Ime's question about how secure this Power BI platform with respect to the Office data. So this is it. Every data you have access to, definitely you can create reports with. Now, the thing is that you have to be careful that when you share your reports, finance, I have access to finance data, payroll data, some things that, maybe people in IT should not have access to, should not see. When I'm sharing the reports, right, I shouldn't share the reports with them. And that's why even Power BI is better than Excel. In Excel, if you send out a report and someone mistakenly forwards it to somebody else, maybe you wanted to send the report to somebody that is Michael in your company. But when you are typing it, Outlook autocomplete. It was Michael, my own Michael, that I'm not in your company. I used to get emails from some companies that is coming from the payroll, from the vendor office, the guys who procurement, and sometimes from finance, sometimes from HR. And it's because those are the ones we as vendor we relate to. So maybe their email account has stored my email address. So if it was Excel, I'm able to open it, right? And there is nothing the person at the other side can do, because the only thing they can do is maybe hope that I will delete it. I should be ethical about it. If I know I got something that I'm not supposed to get, I discard it, I don't open it. So they can just hope for it, but they can't really force it from their hand. Now, the same thing with Power BI. I'm trying to say, let's imagine the same thing. I mistakenly, when I was sharing a report, I mistakenly shared it with someone I should not have shared it with. The moment I realized that mistake, I go and remove that person. Let me show you where the remove I'm talking about, where you see it. So I go and I remove the person. Instantly, the person will no longer have access to it. And because Power BI does not let the person to keep a local copy of the report. So even if I discover this really late, which means that the person has seen it, no worries, the person will no longer be able to see it anymore. Unlike Outlook Recall, where once the person has opened the email, Recall no longer works. In fact, Recall only even works when both of you are on the same domain. So let me just show you an example. I don't want to close this one because there's something about this that I'm going to come back to. So let me just open a new window. All right, so I'm just trying to say that you can remove people from your hand as the owner of reports. You can make sure that people cannot share your report to somebody else. Let me go to a report and let's see together. So if I have this report and I've shared it to some people, let's open the share. So number one is that reports that you have access to, you definitely can share it to people. Number two is that you should not share it to people who should not have it, you know. So that one is just a normal thing. The only way IT can make you not, you know, if you are bent on sharing it with somebody else, is for them not to give you the access. But once they give you the access, naturally you too can be able to do stuff with it and share. But the good thing about Power BI is that it gives you a lot more robust control than you get with traditional reporting tool. So I can say I don't want my people, my report users to be able to share. So I can disable this. And you see this one. You know, in Excel, if I send you a report, you can use my report to create your own report. You can start using mine as the foundation for something else. In Power BI, I can restrict it that you can only just consume it. You cannot use my report to create another report. So that's number two. Now number three is IT also can do controls. They can control what people can do with the data. So because I'm an IT in my organization, I have an admin portal. Let me make the screen big so that you see. So under settings, I have an admin portal. If I go there, I can give a bigger control. I can say nobody in our company should be able to share report to somebody outside of the company. You see, this is something that you cannot achieve with other reporting, with other conventional reporting tools. The problem might not be completely, elevated, but this gives you a lot more control. So I have organizational control. I can say, I don't want people in my company to be able to share. Let me look for that particular one that I said. Yeah, see? I enabled it because we're a consulting company. There's really nothing we have that is that confidential. Most of the things we do are for other people. But if it's you can come here and say, no, you don't want people to be able to share. So you disable it. You can even say, let's see. Export data, you don't want people to be able to even export data to Excel. You have a lot more control. Then when you get down to, there's a place we call certifying data. Let me just scroll. So certification, you can begin to classify some data as confidential, some data as so if you begin to tag data, it allows you to tag data on the source basis. So as an IT, I can tag that data coming from so database should always be classified as sensitive. So not anybody can even create reports with it. So even if we gave you access to that database, the moment I tag it as sensitive and I do not add you to the user group that can access sensitive data, this one takes a higher precedence. You will not be able to access it. You won't be able to even use it within the whole Power BI space. And as for how really secure is the data inside of Power BI, it's just as secure as your email. Because the same space where your email, if you use Microsoft Exchange, the same space where your email is the same space where your SharePoint is. And I've never seen anybody come to complain and be like worried, is our email secure? The email that you have hosted in Microsoft Exchange. I heard that even maybe US government, they even use Microsoft Exchange, So it's just as it's more secure than your own local server. If you go and create your own local image server, that's the level of effort they put into making it as secure. The only thing you can worry about is that, can somebody go and petition Microsoft to release data And what they try to do is they try to create localized data centers. So what IT do is when they want to create exchange and use all of these things, they pick the region where the regulations in that region, you even pick your own country, just that Nigeria doesn't have. So we are, I think, South Africa. So you can pick South Africa, maybe our regulations are similar. So you might not want to pick US because it's USA that's always doing all those, and China, they will suddenly be forcing a company to give access to some company to people's data. So that's the only thing that I know that can be what you might want to deliberately, work around. Pick location that is your own. So once you pick Nigeria, they will always position your data within the data center that USA can never come and tell them, because it's not sitting in USA, it's sitting in Nigeria, but they don't have in Nigeria, so it will be sitting in South Africa most likely. Okay, so I go back here to the continuation of where we stopped. I hope you can see my screen. All right. So we stopped at, thank you, Francis, for the MySQL demo. I don't have PostgreSQL. I don't have Sybase. I don't have Teradata. I don't have SAP HANA. I don't have SAP BW, Business Warehouse. I don't have SAP BW's message server. I don't have Amazon Redshift. I do not have Impala. I have Google BigQuery, but I can't remember the... Let's just try and connect. Maybe it will pull it up anyway. So it was long ago. I used it like 2015. Anyway, let's just try. So I click on Google BigQuery. I do connect. It will tell me to log in with my account to my Google Cloud. Let's see if it will detect anything. So I'm going to sign in with, I have more than one account, but at that period, I used to use my old account. I think this is the one I used to use then. So let's see if it will fish out any, I don't know the password. So let me go and grab the password. This one. So Google. Why is this thing giving me a headache like this now? And let's use copy password. Go here, paste the password, say next. Okay, so I tell it allow. So Google BigQuery is a kind of NoSQL kind of, something that allows you to work on. The time I worked on it, there was a project that in conjunction with another company was actually like a subcontractor under another company. And the data was really getting huge that we were worried. That time, there was Power Query, but there was no Power BI as it is now. And so we were looking for a database that is tailored for big data. So that was why we went for Google BigQuery. We were like, well, that's what Google uses, and it's really easy to use because the syntax is like close to SQL. Let's see if it will find if I have any table in there. It's like I have. Okay, so I have stuffs inside. That's interesting. I don't even know what I have inside. Well, it's like they have a public data stuff, like a sample. Let's see what it looks like. That's why I say this session is going to be interesting, because there are some things I've not even tried before today that we will try together. I hope this will not take time. If it takes time, I'm going to just exit. Let me pick something else. I think I know this NMD. This is the bot that we have a bot where you can, so this is the backend. So at the backend, I have to create some things on Google Dialog like Firebase. So I think everything sits on Google BigQuery. Maybe that's why that's reflecting here. Almost like the same way on Azure. There are some things you will do that you will not know that it's sitting on a storage account. You will just log into your storage account and you will see that it will be telling you like you have created, and you'll be like, when did I create all of this? This is taking time. Okay, because I'm interested in how it will look like, let me just open another version of another instance so that this one can still do its own without holding us back. By the way, let me use this opportunity to just show you the stuff. So I have a bot I created that you can access on Telegram and also on Facebook. And that NMD you see there is, I use Google bot service. It's called Dialogflow. So if you once you chat, you can search for the bot, Nigerian market data. Once you search for the bot, you can tell it hi and it will reply you. And you can say, you know, you want stuff like it should give you, it's asking me how can you help me. Okay, I'm interested in, I want to know what our FX reserve. What's our FX reserve? And it should reply me, say our FX reserve it has gone down. It's almost getting to that 30 billion that everybody says once you reach there, Naira will crash again. Anyway, so it does a lot of interesting things. You can use it to pull stocks if you are the kind of person that you're interested in stocks, and you type it to give you the stock price as at the last market trading date. So it starts pushing them up, blah, blah. So I'm going back to, I'm opening what I've opened, is done opening. So this one is just taking eternity. So I've created a new instance. So we can carry on with our demo. By the way, why I showed you that was this NMD you are looking at here. So I'm sure it's one of the resources it created while it was doing that NMD. That NMD stands for Nigerian Market Data Bot. So if I look in that, I want to see what's inside it. I'm guessing to be what I used in creating the bot. Anyway, where is the one I just opened now? Okay, this is the one I just opened. So we are back to the list. We stopped at Google something, Google Bigquery. I don't know what Vertica is. I think, I don't know what, I used to see Snowflake, but I don't know what it is. Sbase, okay, Azure SQL, that one I have. So if I click on connect, so Azure SQL is those SQL that you create directly on Azure as an Azure SQL. So it's not a local database. It's something that even if you want to connect to it, you will need to go and grab the connection URL. So I already have the connection URL. Let me exit this full screen. Come here. I think this one is one of them. So I can grab it, come here, paste. Again, I have a specific database that I normally go to. So let me just type the database right there and now. Okay. Yeah, I will stick with the import anyway. So I click on OK. And so it works very much like the regular SQL server. In fact, the connector is the same as the connector for SQL. You can notice that it's SQL Server Database Connector. So they are the same kind of. So once it comes up, could not authenticate me. So I'm going to type in my credentials. Don't know what's wrong. Anyway, it has refused to connect, but that's it. It's complaining about my password. But the moment after that, it will just show us the normal navigator, the databases, and the tables. Let me just check something. I hope it's not like something has gone wrong with that database. Okay, I must have typed the password wrongly, but I'm running for time now, so let's just move on to the next one. Okay, so the next one is Azure SQL Data Warehouse, Analysis Services Database for Azure Database for PostgreSQL, Blob Storage. I have Blob Storage. And you see blob storage, table storage, they are similar. Even data lake, they are the same pattern. I have a data lake too. They use the same approach, but I don't have any interesting data to demo for us in this data lake. So let me just use the blob storage. Okay, so I'm going to click on in fact, let's use the Azure Table storage. Anyway, it's the same. All of them, once you click on them, the connector is similar because they are all storage accounts. So it will ask you to provide your blob storage name or URL. So I have this already. So I go and grab it. I'll grab the URL. Go in here. I paste it. So once copy this will allow it this thing. Copy, come here, paste, click OK. It will ask me to provide a key. Because I've provided the key before, it's not asking me, but it will ask you to provide a key. That key, you will have to go to your account. You will have to go to your Azure portal. And I will not show you the key because that key is like my password. If I show you, even if you are not going to go behind me to go and use it, I don't trust people on YouTube because this video will be on YouTube. So I just want to let you know where you will find the key. If you go to, in fact, let's just say you go home on your Azure portal, you click on storage accounts, right? So let me just increase the zoom of my screen. You click on storage accounts. That's why I say all these things are storage accounts. This is the Azure Data Lake I have. These are regular blob storage. So this is that one that I used. So this is if I pick it, then for the keys, this is what you will click on to go and get the keys. If I click there, it will show my key, but I'm not going there. So for you, you will go there and go and get the key that you will now put inside that you put there for Power BI to now come to this particular page. But for me, it kept my key in memory, so that's why. And this is it. These are what I have there. If you just take a look at this, you can see assignment, charts. They are majorly Excel files because I'm an Excel someone anyway. Now, if I show you on the Explore, thank God I'm putting them side by side. Are these not looking similar? Is this not the county? So as we go on, I will show you how you can even create a data, like a much more integrated data lake, where you can have all of the company data already with machine learning included, and we'll get there. That one is we are 2 steps from there. So just stay glued, don't run away. You will be interested, you'll be amazed by what you can now do with Power BI. You can create, it's even better than the traditional data lake. If you know that the data lake you are creating is purely for analysis and all of that, you prefer to go this route. And even if it's not just for analysis, Microsoft is beginning to push it. So I won't be surprised if they begin to push to the back because the Azure Data Lake currently as it is a lot more tailored. It's just like and if you are creating an Azure Data Lake, you'll be enabling just one more option in your normal typical storage accounts. But this other one starts completely from a new framework. Anyway, not to talk too much, let's go into how to, we'll get there after this one I'm doing now. So the one after this is Please come up on time. We might even end the whole session with that one because I don't know, except if you are not in a hurry anyway. So I expand my screen. We stopped at blob storage, table storage. They are similar, the same things they ask you. Similarly for data lake, let me just click the data lake so that you will see that what I mean. If I click connect, it's going to ask me for the URL. Can you see? Now you see this CDN. That is the one that internally Microsoft uses it. So they want it because it's a lot superior. It has a lot of advantages. It's like the future. And so they are beginning to put it also, Microsoft also uses Power BI. So they are beginning to want to make it a first class thing. And when I go to the next one I want to talk about, you see why even if you still use Azure Data Lake, you will want to learn that one. I don't want to mention the name because when I mention the name, some people's head will start, they will no longer be paying attention to what I'm saying. They'll start thinking. So let me just go and grab my own Azure Data Lake. The whole essence of Data Lake is somewhere you dump all your data. And you can do a lot more. So I have one in yeah. So this is my Azure Data Lake. I click on it. I need to grab the URL. So you can see it's very similar to the conventional blob storage anyway. You just enable ADLS on it. That's what makes the normal blob storage become an Azure Data Lake. It has a lot of advantages anyway, but it's still sharing that same architecture to some extent. I will just copy the name because the thing is showing my key here. This is not cool. I'll just grab the endpoint and run. Because I don't want you to see my key. So I just grab the endpoint to tell me to log in or provide key. Okay, this one is even interesting. Allows me to log in. Let me log in. I don't have anything in it, so that's even all this weight is not going to be productive. I'm going to cancel it because I don't even have anything inside of it right now. I was planning to use it for a company demo, but when I was creating it, they had moved past the stage where I needed to demo again. They were already okay with what we were saying, so I was no longer motivated to complete the data lake test base. So now we go to the one I said is the one before what we are supposed to do. That's interesting. So this is the one we just did. Data Lake. HDA Insight is similar, Hadoop file system. HD Insight Spark-based one. This one is Hive. So these are all like the equivalent of a Google Bigquery kind of. But because it's Yahoo that developed the whole Hive and Spark, and so in its native original way it was developed, it's called Spark and then Hive. Or when Microsoft modified it for their own, built on top of it, because they released them as open source, became Microsoft called its own HD Insight, like Azure HD Insight. Google called theirs some other names like Google BigQuery and the rest. So Power BI datasets. You can also connect to Power BI datasets. So I click on connect. And instantly Power BI shows me all the data sets that I have access to. This is, you can see that certified, right? So I decided to certify this. When you certify, it's part of all those things. This is in relation to Mr. Sineme's question. The fact that you can do a lot more as an admin on your data, on the data, such that whatever you do begin to affect everybody. So there's certified, there's one other one. Let me just see if I can just grab that for you, since I was on that page the other time. Okay. So there's certified, there is, oh boy. Let me just go straight to where you will see all the certified and stuff I'm saying. So if I go to data set, endorsement, promoted. So you can certify, you can promote, you can. So all of these have different meanings. Certified means that only an admin can certify. So that's why only because I'm an admin, when I start, if you try to certify, it will send it as a request to me, the admin. And then if I agree, so when you certify a database, means it can be used across the data, across the organization. So we are saying this is a very true version of the data. It's superior to another one. So in case we have multiple versions of the same data, you know, there are some cases where you have data in an ERP, and you will still see that in finance, some of them might still go and have the same kind of data in Excel files, and they will upload them onto the Power BI. So because I've certified the one coming from ERP, right, what that means is the one that I certified is the one that whenever we are doing work, that's the one Power BI will push. That's the one Power BI will make available to everybody in the organization. Whereas the one that is not certified can only be used by the people that are using them. They cannot it cannot be used organizational wide. Then the one that is promoted is now like, I'm not able to certify, but I just want to promote this one that is a higher value than these other ones. Like, you're just giving it a badge, but certified is the ultimate of it. So, and if you use Excel, that's what makes it possible for you to access organizational data in Excel. I don't know if you have gone to that aspect of your Excel. Let me just see if I can show you. In your data in Excel here, you see this part, this organization. It took me a while to figure it out. I went to read the documentation around it. It's only data that are certified in your Power BI that gets shown here. So if I type, you know, anything that is in my certified data, like Nestle, because that one I did it around the companies, and I click organization to go and connect to my Power BI account and look the organization, not mine now, the organization's Power BI, and look for this in all certified databases, and it will now show me, maybe say something went wrong, it might now show me which account manager manages this Nestle, how many, if this is a customer, you know, all the information I want to have about that customer. So anyway, let's go on with where we are. So this is how you connect. I'm not going to go ahead because all what you need is just click the data source that you want to, data set that you want to connect to and create a report from, and do create, and it will instantly bring it back into Power BI. So this can be good instead of you duplicating, instead of you connecting to the same files over and over again. If you have already used it for a report, just connect to the data set in that report. And so you will only be, once that one refreshes, this one will refresh. You will not have to be having multiple versions of the same data set. So this is the usefulness. And we move on. So we have come to that really interesting one. You know, I don't even mind if this is where we end the class today. So let this come up. It's called Dataflow. Some of you must have been seeing it, but you've not really understood what it does. So Dataflow is now going to become the first class way of us having, as a company. So I'm an IT person, or I'm in the company's organization IT. what do? We aggregate all our data into one central place, like a data lake or data factory or whatever grammar people like to use these days. But essentially, what we want is one centralized aggregation. We do our transformation there. We do the modeling there. If we need to connect it to some machine learning algorithm, we do that connection there. So everything is working right there. It's creating forecasts, it's creating predictions, it's creating everything. And then people can connect to that data flow or that central place and be connecting to pick only what they need and create reports. So that becomes one centralized place for us to connect to. So this data flow, you create it in your Power. So let me just connect to my own first, then I'll show you how you can create it, because if you have not created it, you will not be able to even connect in yours. So I click on this, I click on connect. Let me exit the Zoom. Voila. So it has identified that I have a data flow. And what I did was I put all those Nigerian market data, it's our stock analysis stuff. So I did some matchup around it there. And so you see it has all those tables that there's something inside it. Okay, I've not yet refreshed. I've not yet executed the flow into it. That's why they call it data flow. But then let me show you where you do this. So in your Power BI, in fact, let me go from beginning. So let me just zoom. Let me go to home. Let me go home in my Power BI. So I'm in home in the Power BI service, right? So this data flow, to create it, you go to the workspace you want to create it in. That's why when I was navigating, it was showing the workspace I created it in, right? Okay, so in my own case, this is that workspace. So when you're in that workspace, you will see create. You see this create, you will see there is data, streaming data set. I saw someone demo this and it's really interesting. You can use it to be showing things coming directly from stock market or coming from your transactional record. So if you're a bank, the logs from your transaction, how many transactions are going on right now, those kind of streaming data, you can, warehouse them in your Power BI. You can, maybe warehouse is not the right word. You can display them in your reports. But this is the one I'm coming to, data flow. So I click on data flow. And so what this does is allows me to connect, different data. And this is that CDM, common data model. This is what I said Microsoft is beginning to push aggressively for everybody. Because for them, it's the future. They feel that is like the right way for companies to have their data, instead of having them sitting in silos, have them aggregated like a data lake. But this one much more fine-tuned for reporting, not just fine-tuned just to service embedded systems. So you start by, first of all, bringing in all the data you have access to. So in my own case, I have the data that I'm interested in, be them in Excel, be they in PDF, in whatsoever, all of your data, wherever they are, you want to bring them in here. You can even bring in other data flows, right? So what I did, even from Power Platform, from, a whole lot of interesting places. So what I did was I brought in from server, from SQL. Where is SQL? So I brought in from SQL Server. In fact, I even specifically picked that Azure. I plugged in my connection strings. Let me just do that again. Oh, I know why that one didn't work. I typed the wrong database name. I didn't write the database very well. That was why it didn't work the other time. And I put in my, let me see if it will go. Maybe it has my password. Huh? Okay. So I can bring in all the data I want. Let me just show you something interesting. Let's just bring in, let me bring in something I've not brought in before. So like FX reserve. Okay. I want you to tell me what you are seeing, if you something you are familiar with. Just look at this screen that's coming up and tell me if it's something you know. What is this? Is this not the familiar Power Query? Yeah, so you can do your mashup in here. You can do your normal Power Query stuff. You know, you want to, you know, mix all the normal matchups we do in Power Query. And then if I'm happy with it, then I say close and save and close. And what will happen is it will ingest it into that data flow, and it becomes available for use. And this one allows you to set incremental refresh. This is why you will enjoy it. So you just know that this is the only thing that needs to be refreshed. You don't have to always be doing refresh on all of your data that what did I connect to? I think I connect to FX reserve. So instead of me connecting to all those data sources, and every time I connect, I will have to set refresh. And if you're not on premium, you cannot even set incremental refresh, you know, all of those things. This one allows me that all of my entities, so let me just go and pick all of my entities. So if I go here, if I go to my data flows, so I can go there, I can set, can you see this? Can you see my screen? I can set incremental refresh. This guy you're looking at is incremental refresh, right? I can even create machine learning models. Though now they've tied this one to premium, but I'm guessing because that's how they do. They first tie it to premium. After some time, they will release it for everybody. So I'm hoping they release it for everybody. But you see, you can create forecasting, some training on machine learning models that will work on your organizational data and make it also available back again into Excel, into Power BI, into any other analytics, into any Azure stuff you are working on. So this makes life a lot interesting, you know, for us who deal with organizational data. You will just have one central place where all those data are, and you're able to set refresh, set permission, set everything for it. So this is the only place that it refreshes, and it can do incremental refresh. So anytime people connect to this to get the data they need, right, you will not be having like 10 refreshes happening every day because 10 people are creating reports from the same thing. Okay, so that's what I found really interesting with this, you know, and I've exceeded my time. Let me just check if you have any questions. Every other ones are a bit straightforward. I was planning to do, after this, I was planning to do Google Analytics, LinkedIn, QuickBooks, Twilio, Web, Microsoft Exchange, Azure Cost Management, SurveyMonkey, and Azure Time Series. Maybe we'll do that one another day. We'll do those ones another day. So let me just check out if any questions. Any questions so far on what we've done so that we can just wrap it up here. I've gone 13 minutes beyond. What of connection to other databases like MongoDB, Oracle? Yeah, they are there. I can't remember if I saw MongoDB, but there's Oracle DB there. Any question? Any questions? So let me show you I saw Oracle DB is definitely, Oracle is very big in the market. Remember those years? Well, the way that everybody is now doing, what is everybody is doing? Everybody is doing data analysis. Then everybody used to do Oracle exam. I have OCA exam. I have OCA. I don't think I used it for for one single day. But it was that popular. So Oracle is very big. You see, Oracle database. MongoDB. I don't know, but there might be a connector that will work for MongoDB that the name might not just be MongoDB here. All right, so let me just go check if any other questions. About servers and databases, can non-programmers use Airtable? I don't know much about Airtable. Is there anyone here who knows a lot about Airtable that maybe can help us with that answer? I know I've seen it, I've come across it before, I can't even remember. This is like a spreadsheet, huh? Do you care to tell us what Airtable is? Are you able to unmute yourself and tell us? I'm looking at the website and I don't know if it's something that is built on top of it says part spreadsheet, part database. But I hope it's not those ones where they don't expose to you the underlying database. Yes, sir.
Yeah, so from what I understand so far, Airtable, it's like I said, the part spreadsheet, part database. So on your own end, you can create spreadsheets with it. You can also use it to generate forms, so like Google Forms. So automatically, the forms reflect in the spreadsheets. Then you can use the API connector, to connect it as a database with small apps.
That thing you just mentioned, that API connector, that's what I need to get it into Power BI. So the answer is yes. More than never can tell if I can use it for some things on my own hand. So thank you, sir, for that that perspective, that insight. So any other question? I think those are the questions we have. Due to PDF protection in editing of content, does Power BI automatically makes it editable? No, Power BI is not editing. What it's doing is just extracting. It's like copy and paste. It's not like you are editing. Editing is I want to change. So see now, if I have a table, right? If I have a table in Power BI, I know in PDF. Copy this is just copy for me. Copy is just I select the table, I right click, and I say copy. I'm not editing. I'm just copying. I'm just copying what is there. Why is copying looking difficult now? So I can copy with formatting, and then I go and paste. So it's a completely different something from editing. It doesn't edit. So if the stuff is even protected that you can't edit, it doesn't affect, because actually it's not trying to edit. The thing I copied is not even copied. Anyway, it doesn't edit, because edit is maybe you want to change XLE to YLE or something else. Okay, so it doesn't edit, so that doesn't affect it. Can one get data from Google Drive or just OneDrive? You can get data from Google Sheets. You can get data from Google Sheets. If not, if you watch our last demo, our last class, let me get you the link. You will see I demonstrated how to get from Google Sheets, and even it will refresh and all of that. So if you just go and watch let me even use the opportunity to put the channel where we'll put all of the watch past sessions. So if you go there, why is my paste not working? If you go there, you will see we did a demonstration of connecting to Google Sheets, and I even have a video. If you go to my own playlist, you will see a video. I had to now do a short video even on it. So if you just check my playlist, so you will see a short video I did just on that. So yes, you can connect to Google Sheets. I think we are all caught up on the questions now. So thank you very much. In the absence of any other questions, I hope we can end at this juncture. Or anybody has anything to say, any contribution to make. So I just want to specially thank Francis, thank Nwosu, and thank everybody, and thank Emmanuel, thank everybody that asked questions, that helped to answer some questions, and there's someone who posted a lot of questions here too. Live.unilag. Thank you too. So thank you very much. I hope to see you next week, and have a nice week ahead. It's been a great session with you all, and I hope, unfortunately, I couldn't cover all of the stuff that I had in mind, but we covered more than half. So see you next week, and have a great week ahead. Bye-bye.